In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the purpose of crisis and change. The world is facing all kinds of crazy stuff today. You have the coronavirus ramping around, you have the wars, you have the technology. Everything is changing rapidly. What do we have to understand by that and how to position ourselves? Stay tuned. Hi, thank you very much for stopping by my channel. This is Willy again, coming back to you to inspire you, motivate you, and provide to you with strategies and principles to thrive in your career, life, and business. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about crisis. Why do we face crisis, guys? Because you have all kinds of crazy stuff happening today in the world. You have the coronavirus, you have the wars, you have you have hunger, problems with food, climate change. Many things are happening in today's world. And as someone who is out there, living a normal life, sometimes it troubles you when you turn on the television. It's all about wars, it's all about hunger, it's all about technologies that are robbing jobs from people. Do you have to understand, we cannot afford to live without understanding what is going on. Now, I'll start by the definition of the word crisis. What is the meaning of crisis? Normally, researchers and experts define crisis as a change beyond our control, or an event we do not have power over, or something you cannot dominate. Right now, as I'm speaking in my country, things are, they have closed everything because it's a crisis. We cannot control it. We do not have power over it. The only thing we have to do is adapt. So crisis is something you do not have control over. Now, when you read the Bible in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, God has tried to tell us that really life is going to be a series of events that changes accordingly. God warned us, telling us that what is going to really happen is that you will have, when I read the scripture as it is written, it reads, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, it reads, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal." Solomon goes with a very long list describing, the things that is happening and the opposite of those things. So what you have to understand really is that nothing is going to be lasting forever. So either a good time and the bad time, they all have one thing in common: they do not last forever. So it means if you want to stay in good times, you will have to apply certain strategies that will make you it will build for you a crisis proof that will not be able to be cursed with crisis. So the point that here they're trying to make is, you guys have to understand that nothing is going to be permanent. Everything is temporary. So when a crisis kicks in, we call it a crisis because we do not know what to do with that thing. But really, it is a phase that we enter. So every time humanity enters a new phase, we call it crisis. But it's not crisis really. It's just a new phase. We do not have to panic. We do not have to be afraid. We do not have to do crazy stuff, post things. Have been on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp status. What people are posting now, it's just something else. So people are very scared, and you guys, I understand you, because to some point, the reason why some people are scared and others are relaxed, it's because the difference between the scared and those who are not scared is just information. So I wanted to explain to you that simply crisis, it's a new phase. When you get married, you enter into a new phase. It may appear to be a crisis because you have someone else you are living with. If you get a new baby born, it will be the same. If you start a new year, maybe at university, if you are starting a business, when you enter, every time you enter a new phase of your life, or every time you try to do something different, it will appear as if it's a crisis, but it's not really a crisis. Treat it as a phase. Embrace it and go through it with strategies to make sure that you do not treat it as a crisis, because whatever you call things, that's what they become. I've heard many friends of mine telling me that in Chinese vocabulary they do not have the word crisis or problem. All they have is opportunity. So it means when CNN or NBC or Fox News or any other newspaper publish, Al Jazeera or any other newspaper publish, we have crisis in Iran, crisis in the US, problems in Italy, financial crisis in Greece. All Chinese understand is opportunities in China, opportunities in Italy, opportunities in Africa, opportunities in the US, because in their mind they don't think crisis wise, they think opportunity wise. So it is your responsibility to tune your mind not to be crisis wise but opportunity wise. When you read in the first book of Corinthians, the letter of Paul, the first century writer Paul, who really wrote letters to different cities and different ministries across the world. He was writing to a city called Corinthians. He told them, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted what you can bear. This is a very important concept, because what Paul was trying to, the first century teacher Paul has been trying, Dr. Paul has tried to communicate to these citizens of Corinth. He was telling them that you cannot really, everything that is a load into your life, it means you can bear it, you can carry it, you are built to carry it. Every opportunity that comes on your way, every crisis, every good thing, every gift, everything that comes into your life, it means you can manage it. So which means that the coronavirus that we have today, the financial crisis that is threatening the world today. I was watching the stock exchange in the US, and when you see how airports are packed with people, airplanes flights are delayed, people do not want to, there is a huge kind of spirit of fear around. But the truth is, if we are facing this today as humanity, it means we can manage them efficiently and effectively and emerge rapidly and successfully. Now, why crisis exists? I've elaborated for you guys 7 reasons why crises are good, or 7 reasons why we face crisis. Because when people reach in the times of crisis, they start acting in a crazy way. I was telling you in my network, how people are posting stuff, and then you say, oh my goodness, people are really scared. And it's something that is really tricky, because for the number one reason why crisis exists, or the purpose of crisis, is because nothing is permanent. Change is constant. There is nothing in the world which is permanent except change. I repeat myself, there is nothing in the world that is permanent except change. So when you understand that, you will act, react, plan, and think differently from your neighbors. So when you see something kicks in your life, you will say, this is change. It was supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to live the same thing, for a whole year or for a whole life. No. Nothing is permanent. That's why we have crisis. This is a natural law. It's a natural law. We've been learning natural laws lately. But the truth is, nothing is permanent. Only change is constant. Number 2, the reason why crisis exists is because everything has a season. King Solomon said this. He said, everything has a season. To every purpose there is a time. So there is nothing in the world that do not have a timeline. This coronavirus has a season. It will not last forever, 100%. If your business is struggling today, if you are struggling with your family, if you are getting married but things are not working, if you are, if you are starting a new job but you see, you have some quite, challenges, you are passing through crazy stuff at work, at your workplace, it cannot last. Nothing is permanent because everything is seasonal, and that is a natural law. Number 3, life is phasal, guys. Life is phasal. You will never pass, you will not live a life in one way, like poof, one way. No. Things has to change, man. It has to be in doses. Life comes in doses. Today you are happy, you are celebrating, oh my God, things are working. The next day you are low morale because it takes thinking to advance. Without crisis, you cannot advance. So the truth of the matter is life is phasal. So when you pass into whatever you are going through right now, treat it as a phase. Do not take a permanent decision on a temporary situation. Do not take a permanent decision on a temporary situation. Do not do that. Why? Because naturally life is phasal. You are in phase A today, tomorrow will be in phase B. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow will be in phase C, D, up to billions of phases, really. And a phase lasts a life. Do not last a lifetime. It lasts for a given period of time. Number 4, crisis is not really crisis. As I was saying, crisis is just a situation that we could not explain. Think about it. Let me tell you something. If I give you a phone for the first time, you have never seen a phone in your life. You have never operated a laptop in your lifetime. If I give you those equipment, you will struggle for the first week. 100%. If you take this laptop, if you take a telephone, you give it to a person these guys who lives in Amazon, in forest, they have never seen a telephone, they will struggle. It means the phone will bring a phase of crisis in their life. But is a phone a crisis really? It's not a crisis. To you, a phone is not a crisis. It's not a crisis. Why is a phone not a crisis to you? It's simply because you know how to use a phone. That's why a phone is not a crisis. A phone is not a crisis simply because one and only why, the only reason why a phone is not a crisis to you, it's because you know how to operate. So by crisis, what we call crisis really is not crisis. It's just opportunities that we do not know how to handle yet. Simply that. Make sure that you treat crisis as opportunities to make the best out of them. Now, number 5, the reason why crisis exists, it gives birth to a new way of doing things. If you think about today's invention, like the light bulb, like the cameras, like the telephone, the cars, all kinds of inventions, they are products of crisis. Someone sat and said, I cannot send emails anymore. I cannot send, these letters anymore. I want to do something. There were a crisis. People were delaying. You could send a letter and it reaches your destination after 1 month, 2 months, and the message has expired. So, what you have to understand by crisis, it's simply that it gives birth to a new invention, a new innovation. If you are passing through crisis in your marriage, ask yourself, what can I adjust in my marriage? If you are passing through crisis in your business, make sure that you analyze it and say, what can I change? What innovation or invention can I bring in? Number 6, it prevents boredom and detrimental routine. Without crisis, people are going to sleep. Without crisis, people relax. Without crisis, people are not productive. They are stuck in a routine. Have you ever been on a job where you do the same things for 5 years? Let's say 5 days a week. Your job is determined, you know what you will do, everything, you wake up in the morning, you do this, you reach there, 3 p.m. you go for lunch, 4 p.m. you come back, and so forth and so forth. Now, it's like your day is determined for a whole year. That's a boring job. It will bore you. because there is no introduction of new things. So when you have situations like that, I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm simply telling you what are the new ways. Just think of the new ways of doing things to avoid boredom. Otherwise, crisis will hit you and you will treat it as a crisis and then you lose. Number 7, it's a way of reminding us that we are not really the owners of our lives, but do not have control over the earth or over life or over the world. Crisis, I believe that somehow God made sure that we have those things that are uncertain and things that are unknown, because he wanted us really to kind of think and say, if we cannot control this thing, somehow, somewhere, there is someone above this. So crises are a way, crisis helps us depend on God. Because without crisis, you have everything is certain. It's like you are born and then they hand you the history of your the future of your whole life, and you know what is going to happen Monday, you know what will happen Tuesday, you know who will meet Wednesday, you know the business opportunity that is going to come on Thursday, you know the church you will go to on Sunday, and you know the people you will meet the next Monday. That's not going to work. In the structure of life, God made sure that we have unknowns so that we can acknowledge him. Because we reach today, people are saying, what are we going to do? I was joking with my friends, and then I was telling them, at home, and then I was telling them that, for the first time I'm seeing people, mentioning and relying on God because of this. Because, the way we are structured, human beings, is that whenever there is a crisis, we look up to a higher force, which is really an acknowledgement which is a proof actually, that deep inside us we know that there is a higher being, the creator of everything, that we have to turn our back to, or we have to go to every time we are confused about life. Well, these were the 7 reasons why we pass through crisis, and the reasons why you have to look crisis in a positive way, or change in a positive way, to be able to leverage them for your success, career, life, and business, to be able to reach your full potential. Well, thank you very much for hanging around up to the last minute of this video. And I'll be producing this video very, quite frequently in a week, and I'll be able to tell you that it's an honor for me to sit here and inspire you. And God bless you, of course, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.